Don't tell anyone else, but sometimes I leave candy for Yada out by the trains. Just a little handful, but it's always gone by the time I return. Time to spare? Well, I've got something I can share. And I'll tell you one thing for certain, that pet rock Dandicus has is fascinating! He recognizes all sorts of commands, though he doesn't just do them for anyone. I've seen him only do certain actions and tricks for tunes he prefers. Mostly tricks to cheer up Dandicus from what I've observed. Dandicus doesn't believe me when I tell him, but I swear, Connie is watching me invisibly at times. I'm told I may be simply paranoid, but I don't believe so. I can't even fathom how anyone can pass by Gigi's room and not be concerned. I swear, every time I pass by that room, she just has more things! How many things can one have? How many collections warrant such? I found Squirm in one of the maintenance storage rooms once. Wasn't hard given his loud sobbing. Before I could simply be on my way, he stopped me and cried even further. A waste of time, shamefully, but I did stick around and listen. Had something to do with identity? He told me he was upset over allegedly not being a good worm. I was confused. Turns out Arthur titles him as a bookworm, but he believes he may resemble a caterpillar closer. You know what? I'll admit something. I'm concerned for Glisten. The amount of times I've seen that mirror bump into things, well, it's concerning to say the least. I asked him if it was clumsy perchance. He, of course, went on in that tone he uses. No. I'm Glisten. I'm perfect, not clumsy. I can see through that. I sometimes like to do my own small record keeping and investigations. I'm told I'm not allowed to be speaking with Roger. Have you seen the twin masks? Razzle and Dazzle. Children used to get their names mixed up, but I've heard they both really enjoyed their names. Can't say I hate my own. Dyle, it really suits me. This may sound a bit silly to you, but Dyle Timesley is in fact my full name. I often actually chat with Sprout, seeing as I supply fresh food here. There is a train that leads outside of Garden View itself. I ensure supplies end up here. Of course, no other tune is allowed on this specific train. You wouldn't imagine the things I have to do to ensure we get a few luxuries. I've got something I can share. Blot randomly can be seen carrying that inky little sculpture he calls Junior. Not sure if he truly has any attachment to that little art project of his, but I keep seeing him recreate the thing. Honestly, a bit odd to me. Here's a little something to know about me. I don't like physical contact. I rather people ask me before they hug me and whatnot. You know who loves to hug? Goob. I honestly don't have the energy to deal with his energy sometimes. I can't help but feel a little bad for Toodles. The poor girl doesn't exactly have friends her age. Unless we count that kid she plays with around Halloween, though I wouldn't count such. Those holiday-themed tunes barely show around when it isn't their season. You know, if you really think about it, a bubble called Poppy is a bit morbid. Maybe it's just me. You know, Finn isn't terrible company. I'd argue I enjoy his company. I allow him to ramble on about his aquatic interests, and in return, I get to go on about my train interests. It's the perfect trade-off. Have you heard of this book club some tunes are attending? You have to be invited to such. How exclusive. It's a shame I'm far too busy to attend even if I wanted to. Garden View depends on me to keep things running well. You know the circus bunch or whatever they call themselves? I wonder if such an unlikely group would be friends if it weren't for the fact they work together. Honestly, I don't know if I consider anyone here even a friend. I consider everyone more of a coworker, associate, I don't have the luxury of friends. Scraps once asked me if I prefer dogs or cats. I answered cats as otherwise I feel it would have been very awkward. But between us, I don't particularly like either. I prefer ponies. I've got some time to chat. You know of Astro? That tune is always sleeping around in the oddest of places. Once I found him even sleeping on one of the many trains here in Garden View. I'm unsure how long he'd be there if I hadn't woke him. Between you and me, I think Cosmo's baking is better compared to Sprout's baking. Which is shocking because I believe Cosmo has burnt more batches of baked goods. But oh, and that sweet food isn't burnt. It's delectable. Boxton's been up late at night recently. Tells me he can't sleep when I ask him of it. I wonder if a music box ever needs his own music box to sleep. Pfft, what an idea. I hope you're aware any earnings I receive from purchases go right back to Dandicus. I work alongside him. We're associates in a way. No, I am not allowed to take tips. Brusha once approached me and asked me if she can paint me. I declined. There is no way I have the time to sit for hours and hold a pose. I may be dialed times late, but I'd rather not waste that much time. Tegan once requested to host one of her iconic tea parties on the train. Sadly, I couldn't allow that, but imagine the atmosphere. That's the best place for tea, aboard a train. Anything is better on a train, actually, except snakes. I've been looking through some old records at some point, letters and files and whatnot. You wouldn't believe how many letters I found of Shelley's. She'd go on and on writing to the founders of Garden View, many writings of dinosaurs specifically. I swear, there was possibly 5 bins worth of letters. Honestly, I'm not sure why we keep Shrimpo around. I've had intrusive thoughts of just taking him on a train ride one day, and that would be his last stop ever. Oh well. You know, I was never one for V's game show. And I'm not just saying that based on all the riveting stories Dandicus tells me about her. He definitely does not enjoy her company. I can appreciate someone like Tisha. She's actually very punctual. That is unless she is cleaning, and well, she cleans very often. Maybe she isn't all that punctual when you think on that fact. Oh, let me tell you about Flutter. She is lovely, truly, but I can't help but wonder how far she could truly fly. Think about it. She can fly for so long, but how high up could she reach? Could she perhaps pass the clouds? I can only wonder.